Good evening. Thank you. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our lecture tonight. If you looked at the program, you'll be confused. I am obviously not President Janet Dudley Eschbach. I bring her greetings and regrets that she's unable to be with us this evening. I am David Buchanan, Provost at Salisbury University. We're very fortunate to have such a wonderful lecture series here at the university. This is one of the premier events every year, sometimes twice a year, fortunately. A chance for us to hear from a very distinguished list of speakers. If you have a chance to look at the back page, you will see a virtual who's who in American education, both theory and practitioners. On behalf of students, faculty, and staff, welcome. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dean Dennis Botanachek from the Salome School of Education and Professional Studies to tell us a little bit about the history of the Riall Lectures. Dean?
Thank you, Dr. Buchanan. Welcome on behalf of the Salome School of Education and Professional Studies. It's my pleasure to be here again for this very important lecture series. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. What we learned tonight at dinner from people, we have some guests here from the Maryland State Department of Education, and they have the opportunity to travel to all of the schools of education throughout the state of Maryland, and they report to us that this lecture series is the only one like it in the state, sponsored by a school of education. The lecture series is named for Pauline Riall. Many of you may not have heard of Pauline Riall. I'm going to tell you about her. She was the principal at the Campus Demonstration School, which is now Carruthers Hall. She was principal of the school for many years and a proud member of the Salisbury University community. When you go to the reception tonight, I want you to find her picture in the reception hall and raise your glass of punch to her, because she is responsible for endowing this lecture series and making it possible for Salisbury University to host what Dr. Buchanan had talked about as a who's who of American education. If you read the names on the list, and I'm only going to pick out a few, Ernest Boyer, Madeline Hunter, Cornell West, Jonathan Kozol, Herb Cole, Harold Hodgkinson, Louisa Costa, Nell Noddings, Linda Darling-Hammond, and now Salome Thomas-El. You get a flavor for the quality of the speakers we've been able to bring to Salisbury University. I want to thank the committee that puts this together every year, chaired by Pat Hinckley. And I'd like the following faculty members to please stand. Doug Ball, Carolyn Bowden, Namsa Goleta, Monique Lynch. Thank you for your work on this lecture series, and welcome to what will prove to be a stimulating and interesting evening.
Before I introduce our speaker this evening, I would like to thank some folks who make this lecture series possible. First of all, I'd like to thank our teacher candidates who are members of Kappa Delta Pi, helping us tonight with programs and book sales. Deborah Clark, our administrative assistant to the Dean of the Salome School, has just been invaluable to helping us organize this event. Tony Broadbent and the technical experts in event services, thank you very much. Donna Test and facilities reservations, Cindy Cornish and the technicians in TV services, the physical plant folks, housekeeping, horticulture, catering, public safety and university police, publications and public relations, and certainly Provost Buchanan and Dean Botanachek for their ongoing and continual support and participation. Thanks to the committee also, who works diligently each year to bring you speakers of the highest quality educators that are premier in the field of education. What qualities and dispositions does someone have to possess to be a truly outstanding educator? Certainly curiosity and intelligence, a thirst for knowledge and a delight in sharing that knowledge, a desire to succeed and a sense of self-efficacy, compassion and caring, a strong sense of purpose and a willingness to make personal sacrifices for the good of the larger community, a belief in the power of one to affect change and the determination to be a change agent, the ability to look beyond the surface and see potential, passion and commitment, leadership and vision. In a time of flight from the problems of inner-city schools, Salome Thomas-El resolved to stay and give what he could to the community. And what he had to give was much: intelligence, insight, compassion, advocacy, motivation, determination, and a genuine belief in young people with many needs and few opportunities. Deriving strength and inspiration from his mother and the teachers who pushed him to excel, he set about becoming a mentor, a role model, a teacher, and a principal. High academic standards combined with after-school programs that go beyond offering academic assistance can make a real difference. Extracurricular activities provide motivation and opportunities to learn many important life lessons and skills. For Thomas-El, chess became the vehicle for proving to dispirited young people who were poor, troubled, and at times homeless that success in the larger world is possible. Chess became a metaphor for life. Why permit yourself to be positioned as a loser when you could position yourself to be a winner? In an era of adequate yearly progress, Thomas-El's accomplishments serve as powerful reminders that learning and success cannot be narrowly defined by incremental gains on standardized tests. It's not about adequate progress, it's about actual progress. Please join me in welcoming an exceptional instructional leader who continues to stay and make a real difference in the lives of young people, Salome Thomas-El.
I'm going to speak for a few minutes and I'm going to go and find the person you just introduced. We have to get that on DVD. I think I can market that. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to visit with you. The free meal didn't hurt, but to fellowship with people who I know truly in my heart believe that education is really the only salvation for our young people, and to know that you fully support education and support all children really warms my heart. And I know you do because you've invited me as a lecturer at your university in a day when so many are choosing to hear from Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, so many other folks who many times are we invite for who they know more so than for what they know. But you know, as an educator, as a teacher, and as a principal, I'm honored to be here as a lecturer for the Riall series because she was a teacher and she was a principal. And I know that I am who I am today because teachers and principals decided that they were going to make a difference in the life of a young man who may not have known what direction he was going to go in, who they knew that I needed to be in diverse environments and to understand and appreciate the culture of everyone, to give myself that exposure that I could come back into the same community that I grew up in and expose those same children. So I truly appreciate you, the dean, the president, all of you young people who chose to be here tonight on the night when the Yankees better win. But might not. I only say better because my mother, who left this earth 2 years ago, was born and raised in New York. And if I didn't like anything else about New York, I had to like those Yankees. Even as a Phillies fan, I had to like Yankees. And tomorrow morning, and this is a homework assignment for you folks, for you guys. Tomorrow morning I will be on WBOC, 7 a.m. I didn't choose to be there. Someone here set that up. I heard them advertising today, or one of their anchors is going to be playing a chess match. I didn't know I was going to play a chess match. If I have to be there, you have to be there. So at 7 a.m., you all have to watch, at least to keep me awake. But more seriously, I did not come here tonight to talk to you about our president and his No Child Left Behind. I know there's some folks I might offend if I spoke about how many children we are leaving behind or how many we're leaving without a behind. So I don't, oh yes, you know, I hear the amen, the silent amen. I don't have to talk to you about the $5 billion that Congress approved to fund this legislation. That the president has only spent $1 billion. I don't have to talk about billions of dollars that was already approved by Congress to provide transportation for 90,000 homeless children that is somehow not available. When these students have choice to go to any school they want, but they somehow have to find their own transportation. Or for the training of over 100,000 teachers, Congress approves. Somehow the money is not there. We often talk about what we do spend money on. But we need to think about what we do not spend money on. And what we don't spend money on is truly educating every child in every community. And we can talk about what we do spend. But I know, as an educator, as someone who has to fight to get money for books for children just to take home, to build literate-rich environments, which we know have an impact on the lives of children. I know what we fight for. When we have schools who are spending millions of dollars to build new stadiums. And we have cities that are building 2 or 3 stadiums at one time. But yet, my students are educated in a building over 100 years old, and we couldn't even get new doors when it's cold in the winter because our school is on the National Historic Register. So we just have to freeze. So we really have to look at our priorities, and that begins with us. It begins with me. I'm not just asking you. I'm asking you to join me. My life began not at birth. My mother gave me a window. So as a 3rd grader, she walked into my classroom, and my teacher was a young white female teacher. My mother walked in and said, I need help. I'm raising 8 children. My father walked out on my mom, and as women do, she said, I have to raise these children. I can't bury my head in the sand. I have to find a way. And she walked in and she asked my teacher for some help. And my teacher, who was not from my community, had every reason to say, I have to work with these 25, sometimes 30 or more children in my classroom. I don't have time to help you. But she did not say that. That's not what teachers do. She helped to get me into a magnet school. She worked with my 4th grade teacher. And when I went on to high school and talked about becoming an NBA basketball player, they both came to me and said, you know, you can't jump over the Saturday newspaper, which is very thin. So you will not be going to get an NBA. But you can get an MBA. Why not think about pursuing education? Why not think about being an example for those young people who will come behind you? And as I ran off to the basketball court to work on my vertical jumping ability, I thought about, and even now, how those teachers, tough enough to confront a high school athlete because that's not an easy position to be in. But to be able to risk that young man saying, you don't care about me, I don't ever want to hear from you again. From the risk saying to me that education is the key for you. And it stuck with me. They talked me into going to college and they promised me that I'd get a job when I graduated from college. And when I graduated from college student, I did not have a job. I called my teachers, the very same teachers, who encouraged me to attend college. When I graduated from East Salisbury University, and I said, I don't have a JOB, a APT, or a CAR. Can you help me? You promised me I would get a job. My teacher said, did I promise you? I said, yes, you did. I said, I had friends on the corner where I grew up who told me that the BS on my degree was not going to stand for Bachelor of Science. Now, these are guys who didn't even graduate high school. But I had to impress them. And this is the fear of alienation that many of our young people feel in many communities. They're made to feel as if they're sellouts because they want to be educated. I won't even begin to tell you the names that they're called. Because they want to somehow educate themselves. They want to leave the community, educate themselves, and come back into the same community and improve the community. They're somehow viewed as enemies of the community. And my teacher understood that. I remember Ms. Pettit. I will never forget how she and Ms. Pincus would always say, okay, if you think it's right, we'll do it. And she said, I'll help you. I don't think it's important for you to impress these guys. But she didn't understand that that's where I grew up. And I still had to find some type of way to associate with these guys and maybe encourage a few of them to go to Yale instead of jail. Because I know that their children were going to grow up with my children. My daughter might marry one of their sons. So in order for me to try and break that cycle of poverty, I had to not only be an example, but try and encourage them to get educated. My teacher said, well, I have a brother who's an executive producer for sports TV station. I could get you a job. It'll be an internship. You won't be getting paid, but at least you can tell your friends you have a job. I said, fine. So I went back to the corner, and I told those guys, I have a full-time job as an anchor on the sports channel. Several of them said, yeah, I saw you on with Ted Koppel last night. He didn't know. He didn't go to college. But at least I was able to say to them that I was successful. I had already graduated from college, but to them, I wasn't successful. And I eventually worked my way up to getting a paid position. I became a production assistant on what we call the NBA beat. So every week we'd spend a day with an NBA player and produce a 5-minute feature on the day in the life of an NBA player. We spent a day with Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley. That was very interesting. What I learned was that these guys really, really appreciate education. Their children all attended the best schools. Michael Jordan left college early to go to the NBA. His mother made him go back to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and graduate. But that message does not get back to the young people that you will be working with as teachers, as social workers, as mentors, as role models. Wherever you are, there will be a young person 5 minutes away from you who will simply need you to walk into their school and say, you can be me because I was once you. They don't get that message. They get that message when they see you. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what color you are. They see that you are a young person who is willing to take on the challenge of getting educated when your friends may have told you that it wasn't important and that you were coming back to share that message with them. And so what I said to myself was, I've got to find a way to get that message back into the community. And so my teachers, again, always an ulterior motive, invited me to come back and speak to some students about my job in television. And I said, fine, I'd love to come and brag about how I spend every week with an NBA player. Well, those students had no questions about me. They wanted to know how many cars did Michael Jordan own, how much money did Charles Barkley have. But there were several students who came to me after it was a career day activity, afterward, and they said, if you can come in and motivate us, how come you aren't a teacher? And it was probably the first time in my life that someone had asked me a question I had no response to. And I thought about, am I becoming the type of person I complain about? Someone who is concerned about themselves and not the prosperity of servants. Someone who's concerned about the community. And so I walked into my television job and I quit. And I enrolled in graduate school and received a master's degree in education and a certification to teach. And I walked into the same school and those same students came to me and they said, you know, Mr. L, you were a fool to leave that TV job. We were not serious. I said, well, it is too late now. That was 18 years ago. My first 10 years as a middle school teacher, I lost 20 of my students to murder. No teacher certification program ever prepares you for the loss of a child. There's no feeling like walking into a classroom and seeing an empty chair that an 11-year-old, 12-year-old child will never sit in again. And I said, I can't look back, but I've got to find a way to get these students to believe that there's hope, there's life. I've got to get these students to believe in themselves. And so I started teaching these students play chess. And I started using it actually as a tool to teach mathematics to learning support special education students. Knights move on right angles, bishops on diagonals, the chessboard is a coordinate plane. But these students started beating me right away. And I was supposed to be a gifted child. But the chess masters will tell you that chess is a game that will expose your character flaws. These were young people who began to realize that they had character. So I sent them off to play other teachers. Someone else to get embarrassed. So the teachers would call and say, don't send them to my classroom. These were elementary and middle school kids, and we started taking them to visit high schools and competing against high schools. We said, well, we need to take these students on the road playing some tournaments. And so I said, I'm going to take these students to a big tournament in Virginia. And I remember it was February of 1997. And I remember it clearly because it was Valentine's Day weekend. And my wife was expecting to spend Valentine's Day with her husband. This tournament in Virginia was going to end on a Sunday, which would allow me to return from the tournament on Sunday. And that's President's Day weekend. And as teachers, we always mark that Monday off because we mark that off in September. And I told my wife, I said, listen, I want to take these students to the tournament in Virginia. We have a young man, Demetrius Carroll. He's just been evicted from his home. We couldn't go in. The landlord wouldn't get his clothes, wouldn't let us get his clothes. So his teachers have gone out and they purchased clothes for him. Of course, he wanted all name brand, Sean, John, and Timberland, and all that kind of thing. But they purchased what they could afford. And I said, this young man, his father's in prison, his mother lives in South Carolina, he's being raised by an older sister. I said, this is a chance for him to get away. She said, I understand that, but you spent plenty of time with those kids. You need to spend more time at home. And I said, okay, if I can come home early on Sunday, will you allow? She said, yes. We can celebrate Valentine's Day on Sunday if you come back. I said, fine. And the next day I got a phone call from the tournament director of Virginia. It snowed and the tournament was going to be canceled. So therefore I would be home for Valentine's Day weekend. I explained to my students the tournament was canceled, and the students said, well, there's another tournament in Parsippany, New Jersey. It's on Route 80, it's in New Jersey, near New York. I said, well, you're not ready. That was a tournament for adults. I knew they were ready, but that tournament ended on Monday. And my wife, if she's like your wife or your mother, or like you, was not going to allow me to return home on Monday on Valentine's Day weekend with somebody else's children. So I said, kids, my wife is not going to allow me. I'm going to tell you the truth. My wife is not going to allow me to go away to this tournament. And the kids said, oh, well, let me call your wife. I said, no, I am an adult. I will call my own wife. So I called my wife and I said, listen, these children, these kids really want to go away. I mean, they were looking forward to it. And she said, I need you to make the best decision for us. I'm not going to tell you to go or not to go, but I need you to make the best decision. And ladies, so you know, she wanted me to stay home. Fellas, you know, I got right into that van, right onto that turnpike, and headed up to New Jersey. Please don't clap, because by the grace of God, I am alive today. So as soon as we arrived in Parsippany, I knew we were in trouble because my students were 6th and 7th grade students. This was the U.S. Amateur East Championship. It was the largest team versus team event in the world, larger than the Olympics. Over 220 teams, no age limit. And our first match was against Bucknell University's chess team. And one of their players had already graduated and had returned to play with his friends. And I gave my students the old win one for the giver speech. It's all about the effort. But these students were going to make sure that when I went home on Monday, that I was going to be proud because they beat Bucknell University's chess team. And one of Bucknell's players, the graduate student, came. He said, I know there's no age limit, but I just need to see some ID for these kids. And then the next day, they had Demetrius, the kid who had been evicted from his home. They had him matched up against an expert level player. This guy was in his 40s and been playing about 20 years. And I went to the tournament director. I was upset. I said, do you know the history of this young man? He doesn't even know where he's going to live when he returns on Monday. You couldn't find another player. This is an inner city kid. Father's in jail. I mean, couldn't you find someone? He said, sir, you know the rules. We always match the novice players up against the strongest players, and then we work our way down. He said, but you need to look at the chessboard. And I looked at the board, and the chessboard is a square. It's the same on all four sides. And I said, we're on the wrong side of the board. But we went to the other side of the board. we saw the same thing. For the first time in 35 years of U.S. chess history, that a novice player had ever defeated an expert level player. Never done before. This was a young man who was only at this tournament because his teachers had the presence of mind to say he needs to be there. They worked with the people in the churches and the social workers to get him and his family, even after we returned, whatever they needed. And so he paid them back. The first time in 35 years, never done before. The tournament director said, we're going to hang his name on the wall. We're going to write an article in Chess Life magazine. It's never been done before. He said, as a matter of fact, we want to treat all of your children to dinner at the hotel restaurant. And this was the Parsippany Hilton restaurant. And I had 15 students with me. And I said, sir, that is a wonderful gesture. But you do not want to let these children in your restaurant. You give me a few dollars and I will take them to McDonald's. He said, no, they deserve it. This is unbelievable. And so I met with the kids. I took them to the side and I said, listen, we're going to go in this restaurant. We're going to eat. If you can't pronounce it, don't order it. So of course, they ordered filet mignon, crab biscuit. But that was their experience. Their children eat like that on a daily, weekly basis. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Demetrius, the young man who defeated an expert level player, is at Kutztown University on a full 4-year scholarship. Was offered what we call a Keystone Scholarship, meaning he had a full 4-year ride to any state school in Pennsylvania. And his teammates who were there with him, many of them, followed right along with him to Kutztown. I guess when the going's good, followed right along to Kutztown. But these are children who, through the power of influence, the immortality of influence, how we touch young people and they go on to touch so many other people, young and old, through the gifts that we give them. I am sure that he did not think that he would make the impact that he did, but he only had the opportunity because people believed in him even when he did not believe in himself. And those students went on later in the tournament to defeat a team of 4 men whose combined age was over 200 years. Never done before. They won first place in the tournament. And they even gave me a plaque. And gave the students trophies. And my biggest mistake, ladies, was I didn't call home the entire weekend. Oh, you know. I called a nurse. My students said, call a hearse. So I walked in the door with the trophies and the plaques, and my wife said, put the kids' trophies down. I don't want to hurt their trophies. But it was at that time also that I realized that I had to be more dedicated as a father and as a husband. Although I was dedicated to my community and to my students, and you will be too, please remember that it is very important for you to be there for the people who are there for you at home, who guide you, who support you. But it's also important for those young people to see that you value family. Because I want them all to grow up and become good fathers. I want them to grow up and marry good fathers. I ask my students all the time, what is my most important job? And they say it's that you are a father. That's how we break the cycle of poverty. We get those young people to grow up and become good parents, good adults. We take them to museums, we take them to colleges. We expose them. It's all about exposure. It's not about testing. It's about exposure, because all these students who play chess in our program are students who traditionally have not done well on state standardized testing. But by the time they finish high school, they've scored 1,000 or more on the SAT as sophomores. Some of these students are already taking the teacher certification exam as seniors in high school. So it's not always about how they test in 2nd and 3rd grade. It's about believing in our young people and knowing that with your power, as a teacher, you can close any gap. Those students went on later that year in April of 1997 to win the 8th National Chess Championship in Knoxville, Tennessee. 7 consecutive national titles. Never done before by any public, private, parochial, inner city, suburban school. Never. These children, many times who may not know where their next meal is going to come from, had teachers who believed in them and taught them to believe in themselves. And so as a teacher and chess coach, I realized that I needed to take this message to a larger audience. I wanted to become an administrator. I didn't know that my job working with adults would be much tougher than working with children. That I did not see. But I knew that if I was going to really be able to truly help children, that I was going to have an impact on adults. And so I decided to become a principal. And my first year as principal, when I thought about maybe I could sell used cars or something because this is a tough job. I had one of my students, Otis Bullock, call me. He's one of my first chess players. And I talked about him in the book, in the last chapter, because this was a young man who grew up in a home with 14 people. Problems with his family, parents who deserted him, friends who teased him about what he wore, but he always remembered that his teachers told him to stay in school. And even when he dropped out and enrolled back in school, he always held to those commitments and principles. And he called me on a Friday, and he said, I'm graduating from Westchester University on Sunday. And I just didn't want to walk down that aisle without thanking you and all of the teachers who were really there to make a difference. And I said, you're graduating from Westchester State Prison? He said, no, Westchester University, because Otis had fallen off the map. No one had heard from him. And we always assume when we don't see young people that they died or they've gone on to prison. But this was a young man who decided to hold to those promises that he made. And he said, I don't expect you to attend, but I just didn't want to walk down an aisle without saying thank you. And I immediately called my wife, and I said, this trip you're going to make with me. Now, I don't have asthma, but I felt my breathing begin to constrict. But I said to my wife, we need to see this young man graduate. I've been to too many funerals. I've watched 20 of my students get murdered. I have to see life and live life through Otis. So those students who wouldn't be where he would be would know that they had a chance to make it, so that his teachers would know, yes, he made it, and you are making a difference. And so we made that hour or so drive, and it was 100 degrees. People were falling out in the sun, but not me. I had to see this young man. And I don't think I witnessed any of that ceremony because my wife and I cried the entire time. I think I almost ran into the procession. And when Otis was done, he ran over, and my wife and I began to take pictures of Otis with his friends, with his professors, with people he didn't even know. We were just that proud of him. Yes. We were just that proud that he was a kid who had made it. There were children who would later decide that, yes, I can go to college too because Otis had made it. Yes, I can go to Penn State and not the state Penn because here's a young man who came from the same community who decided that education was important. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger heard about the success of our students and how they were such good chess players, and he came to visit our school. And he made a mistake. He started bragging about how he was one of the best young chess players in Europe. He didn't know that our students had traveled to Yugoslavia to play against the national team, that our students were supposed to play against the best school in Europe. When we arrived, those students, they selected the best student from different schools, and our children still defeated them. He didn't know about that. And he said, I want to play a match against one of your students. And had a room full of boys. And he selected the one young lady that I had in the room. And I said, Arnold, you want to fool with this young lady? He said, why? I said, because her name is Denise. Now, her mother's in a wheelchair. She's being raised by 2 elderly grandparents. But Denise is one of the top 50 female chess players in the nation. He said, I'm ready. See, he doesn't know about women. See, our female chess players, yes, that's right, he doesn't know. Back then, he didn't know. See, our female chess players, they treat those pieces like offspring. They'll play hours and never trade a piece. It frustrates the heck out of my guys. You know, they just man live, NFL, they just, everything's game boy, 5 minutes and they're done. These young ladies will learn one opening and they will master 5 different variations. So she sat down, and she checkmated Arnold. And Arnold said, you terminated the Terminator. But then he also wrote a check for $20,000 to support our program. We've never received a dime from the school district of Philadelphia. Here's someone, not only who was not from our community, not even from our country, who saw how important it was to impact the thinking of young people. See, chess teaches young people to problem solve, to critically think. Most importantly, it teaches them to make good decisions. To know that there will be consequences and rewards for every move. These are skills that are transferable to real life. It's no secret that Otis, in May, I attended his graduation from Temple Law School. He called me last Tuesday. He's already passed the bar. This is a young man who 4 years ago didn't know what he wanted to do. But this is what, and it's not about one exceptional educator. There are thousands of you out there every day giving up yourselves and sacrificing, spending your own money. I often talk to educators and we talk about spending millions of dollars for professional athletes and entertainers. And what would a teacher do if we were paid $1 million? We should be. What would we do? We walk into the classroom teaching our students about African and European history, and then we say, you know what, students, I just got paid Friday. Let's just fly to Europe. That's what we do. We don't have 20 cars in the garage. We can't keep one new car. That's what we do. That is the sacrifice that you make, but it pays off. And it's a lesson that I learned. It's a lesson that Walt Disney learned. Now, I know Walt Disney is in Delaware, about to lose some money. But I hope they hold on to a little bit because they just purchased the movie rights to my book. And I requested, before anything was signed, a meeting with whoever was going to produce the movie. And here I am, a poor kid who grew up, living on a teacher's salary, and I'm making requests. But I wanted to meet with these guys. These guys flew into Philadelphia, and unbeknownst to me, this was the team of guys who were actually working on a movie titled Miracle about the Olympic hockey team. And they were going to be the team of guys who were going to produce this movie. And I wanted to know, what is going to be the message? Is it again going to be about someone who was sitting somewhere on the beach in Dewey or Bethany or Rehoboth, who decided, you know what, maybe I'll be a teacher and I'll go in and transform some kids that no one else could do anything with. People who toiled for years. People who spend years researching and preparing educators to go out and fight the good fight. They said, no, it's not about that. This message will be about young people who simply believe in themselves because they're educators who are out there, who care enough to sacrifice and believe so much in those young people until they begin to believe in themselves and know that they can do anything that they want to do. And I was sold. Now, I didn't have to hear how much money, but I was sold. And that is what is important to me. See, my passion as a principal is to ensure that every child, I won't be happy until every child in my school is reading at or above grade level. And that's why the chess was so important for me, because it was, number one, if students are going to become good chess players, they have to read lots of chess books. So I kind of tricked them into becoming good readers. But I know that independent reading is so important. And that has been my passion. Many times I will battle with my teachers, so you future educators out there, you will battle with your principal. But hopefully, the common goal will be to give children what they need. Not what you need, and not what I need, but what they need. And that has been my passion, to make sure that every child reads at least an hour a day. I require it for all of our children, independently, half hour in school, half hour at home. When you become an educator, when you become a mentor, role model, social worker, anybody, I'm trying to cover everyone in this audience. Because it's going to take each and every one of you to understand that those children, we cannot leave teaching the habit of reading to people who are at home who don't know how important reading is. See, we have to take on that charge. There's research that shows that children who come to school from poor families leave homes that have less than 2 books in the home. But children from middle class and affluent families have over 200 books. You talk to me about where's the gap? The gap is in the experience. So we have to teach children that the reading, the experience is important. We have to give them no experiences, the exposure. Last year I took 15 of my students to Vermont. Now Vermont is not a very diverse state, but it's not very diverse in the inner city either. But Vermont is the first state to abolish slavery in their state constitution. Our students needed to know that there were people who didn't look like them who were fighting for their families and their ancestors. Now, it was 30 below zero the entire time we were there. Now, my students didn't complain about the weather. They complained about the 12-hour train ride. I had to remind them that there were slaves who walked to Vermont from Virginia and from Maryland and from North Carolina. They visited the home of the Robinson family. It was a Quaker family that owned a home it was one of the last stops on the Underground Railroad. Frederick Douglass stayed there. Harriet Tubman stayed there. They read letters that this family actually received from slave owners asking them to send those slaves back, and they said no. But our students also had a chance to meet young people in Vermont. Young people who had never interacted with African Americans who were just like them. They all listened to rap music, 35 Cent or whatever his name is, Eminem, Snickers, or whoever. They all listened to the same music. They all wear baggy pants and cornrows. These children were more alike than they were different. This was something that I never expected to be a positive result for our young people, for them to see that those young people were all the same. So as they grow older, they will see, when they walk into a campus like yours and see children who are different, who dress differently, who look different, they will appreciate you and respect you for who you are, and respect you for your heart, and to know that we are simply more alike than we are, that we're different. And I wanted to expose those students. That's why I was at dinner, I was telling some people at our table, this year we had our first graduation, our first 8th grade graduation. And we didn't graduate in the stadium, we didn't graduate in the church. Our students graduated at the Philadelphia Art Museum. Some of our parents, it was the first time inside of a museum. So how are we going to break the cycle if we don't expose these young people? So when they grow up, they will know to take their children to museums, to take their children to the theater. But it begins with you, and it begins with me. You can truly make a difference. Every child needs someone to be crazy about. Everyone. I know I am who I am because people like you decided to truly make a difference and to say to a young man, because as a teacher, you'll find yourself every day saying, young man, pull up your pants. Young lady, put on a decent outfit. The next day they'll come with the pants sagging. I know some students on this campus probably look that way. I won't ask you their names. We still love them. But those children many times will come into elementary schools and middle schools craving your attention, looking for someone who wants to say to them, there's more to life, who's willing to say no, who's willing to challenge them. I challenge you to go out into the world and to know that you do have a purpose, that your influence is very, very important, that you will influence many people in your lives to go on and influence many others. Demetrius, Denise, and all of those children who have gone on because teachers believed in them, who've gone on to be successful, and who are now majoring in education and communication, who are going to touch so many more. I know that it's not about me. This is much larger than I am. This is more about what we can do. I know we can do it. I am an example of it, and I appreciate you for all that you do. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Please join us in the social room for reception and book signing.